Good morning, guys. John here, Ridgeview Homestead. Well, today we got a special project. Monica and I are going to build her a chicken brooder. So we'll take you along and we'll show you some of the stuff that we're doing. All right, the brooder is going to be 4 foot by 8 foot. So the base of it is going to generally be this size. This piece I'm going to cut in half right up the middle to get 2 foot sides. So then those will become the sides. We'll show you as we get a little bit closer to assembly. So for now, we're just going to do all of our cutting. All right, so I got my saw set up to cut this. I did a straight edge with some clamps. I got my line right here. So I'm just gonna cut this guy right down the middle. This board isn't perfectly straight, but you know, it's gonna be pretty straight. So let's go ahead and make this cut. All right, one cut. So these boards are going to be our sides. Okay, so I have my 2 side pieces there, 2 foot by 8 foot. There's my bottom, 4 foot by 8 foot. Now I'm going to take this one here and cut 2 pieces. This is 8 foot long, 2 foot wide. So I'm just going to measure from the end to here at 2 foot and make a cut. Hello, Woogie. And make a cut there and then do another cut. And then we'll end up with a 4 by 4 square when it's all said and done. All right, so we got our 4 by 8 foot base. We have 2 pieces here that are 2 foot by 4 foot. And then we have 2 pieces behind it that are 4 foot by 8 foot. So those will be the ends, those will be the sides, and that'll be the bottom. So we're gonna frame it out with 2 by 2s. So I'm gonna cut 4 2 by 2s by 2 foot long to put vertically on the ends here so we have something to attach the end panels to. So let's go ahead and get those cut. All right, so the next step in the process, we're gonna take our 2 by 2s and screw them onto the sides. It's the long sides, so I guess that would be the sides. The little ones would be the ends. So we got those on one piece so far, so I'm gonna get the other 2 and install those. ahead and pre-drilling holes just because I have the drill, and why not? The boards won't split. And I'm using 1 5/8" exterior screws. I'm sure you could use drywall screws or whatever you have laying around. That's what we have, so that's what we're using. All right, so we flipped the unit over, and now we're working on the bottom basically. So we're adding some supports here from side to side or end to end, and then we're gonna do another one right here. So that way when we put our bottom on, we'll have something to screw it to. And then we'll flip it back over and then start working on the lid. The lid is gonna be either 1 big door or 2 small doors, we're not sure. I think we're gonna make a divider in the middle. So if she ever wants to like maybe brood, maybe a mama hen that's broody, that's sitting on some chicks, or maybe has some sick chicks or whatever, we can put a divider in the middle so we can have 2 separate brooders, or if she wanted to do 2 separate types of chickens. So lots of options. So I think that's what we're gonna do. So it can either be a 4x8 or a 2 4x4s. All right, so we put the bottom on the top, but we're gonna flip it back over. But anyways, I did 2 screws in each corner, and then I guess I went about every 8 to 10 inches and put some screws in there and just kind of went all the way around. I used the black lines. So I put them about every black line. This one I split in the middle, and this one I split in the middle, but pretty much every black line I went ahead and put a screw in there. So I think we're pretty solid, and we're gonna go ahead and flip it over and then work on the lid. Okay, so let's see here. We have the entire box built. We didn't have a lot of 2x2s left, but we had a bunch of 1x3s. So we ran some 1x3s around the outer edge just to kind of stiffen it up. This right here is a 2x4. Reason why I did a 2x4 is because we're gonna have the hinges. So I wanted to have some good beef there so that the screws would have something to hold on to. So we're gonna do 2 independent lids. So each lid is gonna be 4x4, and then this one will be 4x4. And the reason for that is because we're going to divide the brooder in half. We're gonna have like a board that's gonna slide down the middle. So if she wants to section it off and make it for like 2 separate breeds or a broody hen or whatever need that she might need, that way there's options. So we're gonna add a center divide. So it'll be 2 brooders, basically 4x4. So I'll show how all that comes together, but for right now, basically we just build just a big giant box with some supports around and all of that. Now the lids, we're gonna get started on the lids. We're gonna make 2 lids. It's gonna be 4x4. I'm just gonna run 1 screw in here for now, and then I'm gonna use basically a gusset. I cut out from some scrap wood. We're just gonna put those like that to stiffen it up. So that'll help. I can put a screw here, maybe a screw there. So it'll be 3 more screws holding that together. And then of course the hardware cloth will be on there. I'll probably put the hardware cloth on first and then put these gussets on there, just so it'll be easier. But that's what we're gonna get started on. We're gonna start putting these together, and then we'll stretch the hardware cloth across it. All right, so we got the lids laid out. Just put a little spacer down the middle so we'll have an area to cut. Now we're gonna start stapling and just stretching and getting it put on there, and then we'll trim it up, and then we'll get it on top. So let's see what happens. All right, so we got our hardware cloth all nailed on. Put a couple 100 staples in there. It's not super tight, but it's gonna more than do the trick. So we'll get going on the next one over there, and we'll come back, and then we'll trim this up and make it look nice, and we'll show you when it's all done. Okay, so I took the grinder and cleaned up the edges, got them all trimmed up. I'm pretty happy with it. It's not super tight, but I think it's gonna work. It's gonna serve the purpose. We'll probably add a couple more staples in any of the spots that are low. But it's coming together nicely. We're gonna wrap it up for tonight. It's a little after 7:30. So we're gonna do the hinges, the latches, and the center divider tomorrow. So we'll see you in a couple of seconds. All right, next step, we're gonna do the hinges. We decided to do a foot from the end and a foot from the end. So we're gonna pre-drill some holes and put some screws in. So we'll get started on that. We just used just some standard door hinges. That's what we went with. They came in a 3-pack. Let's see if I can show you which ones we got. This is what we decided on, was this brand. It's just from the big box store, Home Depot. So, and then here's gonna be our latch. We're just gonna do the regular hook and loop latch style latch, just like that on the front. So let's get started on that. Okay, so what we did is this is gonna be our Brooder divider. We just ran a board down the side, across the bottom, same thing on the other side. So it just fits into like a slot, just like that. So it just fits in there, and she can divide the brooder into 2 spots, or it'll just be like that, and it'll be one big giant brooder. Let's see, what else did we do? We put some latches on here. So we got a couple latches installed, one there and one over here. And now I'm getting ready to hook the chains up to keep the doors from flopping back, because that's about as far back as they can go. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put a chain on it. Let me go show this one real quick. We're gonna put a chain on it so it'll only open about like that. So it'll just be leaning back a little bit. Okay, so I got the chains installed on the side. I used a couple of eye hooks and these crimp S hooks. I'll show you the packaging right over here. So yeah, I just used the little eye hooks. They're called screw eyes. And then these little crimp S hooks. This is what I used, and it's just a Home Depot brand, ever built their products. So I used those, put the eye hooks in there, and then just crimped the chain on. The chain I used was this double loop chain right here. It's 15 feet long, and it holds 90 pounds. Those doors are maybe 10 pounds. And then of course, these are the hinges that we used, and then the little latches. So that's pretty much everything we used. I used exterior grade screws to hold it all together, 1 5/8. And then we used some 1 1/4 drywall screws as well. So let's check this out. So yeah, this is gonna be the main part. So this will house a minimum of 50 chicks here and 50 chicks here. And then when they get a little bit bigger, you know, you could open it up and give them more space. Or if you're just doing 50 total, you could, you know, just do 50 here and then open it up, and they'll have plenty of room to run around. So yeah, so that latches up like that. We open it up, there's the chain, and then that's the finished height there, or I guess not the height, it's the finished degree of it. I think it's about a 30-degree angle or so. So yeah, here's the chain, and then yeah, put the little loops in there, and then just crimped it on. So I think it turned out really, really good. Here, I'll open up the other side. There's Woogie over there playing. Oh, gotta undo my latch here. So undo the latch, lift it up. And there we go. So the overall dimensions are 4 foot by 8 foot. And yeah, I think it really turned out good. I used a 2x4 on the back here just to give it a little bit more structure. So you could put your hinges on there. I figured there'd be a lot of stress on that board. We used the 2x2 lumber all around the bottom and the sides. I would have probably used 2x2s instead of the 1x3s. We did that because we ran out of 2x2s, and it's a 2-hour round trip drive to go get more lumber. And then the same here, I would have used 2x2s there as well to do this part. But yeah, this turned out pretty slick. I'll show you how that works. I'll climb in here. We're gonna put some handles on this, but it just slides out just like that. And then, you know, then the chicks have a lot more room to run around and do their zooming. So, you know, you'll have your pine shavings and the bedding and stuff in here. So you probably won't see those boards. Yeah, you'll have to clean out the little track there to put the board back in, but so it'll be kind of a multi-purpose brooder. She'll be able to brood chicks in here, and then if she has like maybe some broody hens or something, or maybe an injured hen or an injured rooster or something like that, she could put them in here and they can kind of have their own space. So yeah, super happy with it. So yeah, if you have any questions about anything, please feel free to let me know. And just to kind of recap this, we used 3 sheets of plywood. This is that CDX 1/2-inch thick plywood, usually used for like roof sheathing or wall sheathing. We just did that because it's less expensive than regular plywood. But yeah, whatever you got laying around. I think it was 6 2x2s, which if we would have used 2x2s here instead, I think it would have been a total of 8 2x2s. And then of course, you know, the lid there was 2x2s. I think what I would probably do different is I would put maybe some cross bracing in there just to kind of stiffen up the doors a little bit more. I did put these gussets on here. I'll show you. I used some extra plywood here, and I made these little gussets out of plywood, the extra wood, and I just, you know, stapled it in so it would just stiffen it up, because I only put 1 screw in here because I didn't want to split it. Now on all the screwing and everything, I pre-drilled all my holes so I wouldn't split the wood, because this pine here is really soft and it'll split super easy, especially when you're drilling into an end grain. It'll split. So, but that's about it, I think. And then of course the hinges, the brackets, hardware cloth, you know, all that stuff. I did kind of like this little design feature here that we added. I kind of came up with, I'll show you real quick. There would have been a gap right here in between the two, so I just put this piece of wood on there to cover up the gap, and it keeps it shut. Granted, you can't open up this one by itself. You got to open this side first, but that's not a big deal. I think if it was one solid door, it would be really heavy and it might be a little bit cumbersome, and you would have to definitely do some cross bracing. But anyways, well, I hope you enjoyed that video. I had a really fun time building this. If you have any questions, comments, please leave it in the comments down below and I'll get back to you. And thanks a lot for checking us out, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We'll see you again on the Ridgeview Homestead. Bye, guys. Okay, we have a surprise in the brooder. The meat chicks have arrived. Let me open up the lid and we'll show you guys. Okay, so there's 50 of them. There's probably 30 of them right there. We got a couple of ceramic heat plate lights. We have the plate warmer. There's their feeder and some waterers. So this is first time for Monica, and really first time for us. They're doing real well, they're eating. So just wanted to show you. That right there is a ceramic heat lamp, and that's a ceramic heat lamp. And then we have the plate warmer there. Just trying something a little bit different. But they seem to pile up under one and then the other and just kind of back and forth. So it's interesting how they do that. These little guys, they got a nice little area over there. We got a couple with the zoomies. So they're doing real well. All right, just wanted to show you how the brooder finally turned out. We did put some tiles in the bottom, just some peel and sticks. Let me open this up so you can have a better look. So there's a peel and stick flooring. Just did the really cheap vinyl peel and stick just to try to keep some of the moisture out. I know it's not going to be perfect, but it'll help. And it was like an extra, you know, $20 for a big box of them. So thanks a lot for watching Ridgeview Homestead, and we'll see you next time.
When we wake, hear the birds and see the sun. Side by side our fears are done. Oh, the good times just begun. Oh, we know what we have, let's hold on tight. Found what we're looking for in life.